Hey guys and gals, Vinny here. Vin's Bug Shop 2 Beyond the Water guide service. I will say I have not guided in many years. Kids, life, everything comes first, alright? Today we're going to tie, it's called a mess caddis. I had a friend a couple years ago ask me, say, hey, I need a caddis emerger. Alright, I'll come up with one. I came up with this, the mess caddis, because it looks like a mess. Because anytime a bug is emerging, it's just a mess, alright? It's an easy meal. So these I primarily tie on a size 16 or 18 emerger hook. It's got a wider gap to it. If you do not have an emerger hook, by all means, use a scud hook. You can use a dry fly hook. Just remember, if you're using a light wire dry fly hook, when they hit this emerger, they're crushing it. All right, so if they're crushing it, hitting it really hard, and you're setting a hook like King Kong, that's a bad equation to be a part of. All right, nobody's going to win that one. Okay, or you can use just any nymph hook you have. You can use that. I tie these in 16 and 18. The emerger hook has a wider gap in it, gives me a little better hookup ratio, alright? But even the 16 and 18s is still small. So here's a size 14 hook, just for reference. Much bigger gap to it. So if you want to tie this 16 on a size 14 hook, by all means, knock yourself out and have fun, alright? So, pieces and parts for this fly. We're going to use hare's ear wiggle dub, a natural, alright? There's a guy, an old top. Doug Swisher, love the dude. I used to watch his videos when I was a kid, and I have a few of his books, especially his emerger book, alright? Good stuff. But he came up with some kind of nymph dubbing that had pieces of rubber in it, like this wiggle dub has here, right? So this hare's ear, and then it's got these little black slivers of rubber. I mean, very tiny. It does not take much for them to wiggle and move around, okay? But I believe Doug Swisher was the first guy to incorporate this into dubbing and mass market it and sell it and stuff, so... But Doug Swisher, great dude, old top, alright, good stuff. So that's what our body material is. Then we're going to use a mallard flank feather. We're going to pull a couple of barbules off, and that's going to be our tail. If you have wood duck, by all means use wood duck, alright? But if you can't find wood duck or afford wood duck, mallard flank is a great substitute, okay? Then we're going to use some CDC. For this one, we're going to use tan. So I got some tan CDC feathers here. Alright, then we're going to use a soft tackle in the front. So get your favorite soft tackle, and you find a feather that's small enough for this fly, and use it. Alright, love soft tackles. I love fishing emergers. My goodness, do I love fishing emergers. Alright, and then your thread. Thread could be tan, black, brown, whatever color you want to use for this. I'm going to use tan on mine. Alright, so let's get a hook in the vise, and let's roll. Come here, Mr. Hook. Get off there. There we go. So hook in the vise, we're going to start the thread behind the eye, work backward. You get about midway, I'm going to snip that off. I'm going to wind back to where it starts to bend. Right about there. I'm going to take a couple of barbules off this wood flank feather. Whatever you want, a lot, a little. I'm not going to even them up because I'm not worried about it. I want this fly to be buggy and goofy looking, alright? I'm not saying it's not pretty, but usually buggy means ugly, and I'm down with that. But my ugly is very pretty to me. Alright, so there we go. Hook shank length. We use a pinch loop to tie that in. That looks good enough. Wind forward, and we're going to snip that off there. About 3/4 of the way up, snip that off. I'm going to wind back. And there we go. Now with the dubbing, you can just dub it on normal, right? Make your little dubbing loop here, dub it on normal, and then use your dubbing brush to pick it out, and that'll help pick out the fibers and pick out the rubber legs. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a dubbing loop, okay? So, I'm going to make like a little teardrop looking circle kind of deal. 1, 2, then we're going to come around twice. 1, 2. Flash that in, and now there's my dubbing loop right there, okay? Take my thread forward. I'm going to put my thread off to the side. Now, my dubbing loop tool is an expensive one. I had a cheaper one that was great. I think I lost it. And this was the only one I could find at the fly shop. They didn't have anything cheaper. So I bought this just so I had one. Alright. So that's that. And I'm going to start putting some dubbing. And some wiggle legs. Alright. Just push it up. And push it up. And we're going to push it up. Make sure we get some legs in there too. There we go. Get in there, buddy. And we're going to pull that tight. And I'm going to start twisting. Twist, twist, twist. And once we have this wrapped in, you can taper it and trim stuff. Whatever you want to do. Just so long as it's buggy. Buggy, buggy, buggy. And if you ever want to see what I mean by it being a mess and being ugly, try and pick a bug off the water when it's trying to hatch, and you'll see what I mean. It's got the shuck, the trailing shuck there. It's got gas bubbles, air bubbles, legs, pieces and parts going everywhere because it has the legs from the shuck. It's got its newly formed legs because it's turned into an adult. A lot of pieces and parts that are moving, all right? So we're going to wind that forward. As we go forward, we're going to just stroke those fibers backward. Best of our ability here. And there we go. All right, take our thread, secure that in. All right. Snip off our dubbing loop thread just like so. Alright, fold all that back, get that all in place. Alright, now we're going to take our Cdc feather. So you could tie it in if you want, like we're tying a dry fly with a tip. You can tie it in that way if you want. But for this fly, I like the movement of the Cdc. So what I'll do is I'll strip one side, turn it over, and then we'll strip the other side, and then we'll pinch down here. So you got your clump just like this. And they're all different sizes, and that is all going to undulate in the water and give us a very good representation of an emerging bug. Because like I said, there's a lot of movement going on. Alright, if you want to fold that over and do a whole bunch, you can. Just like that. And then I'm going to snip these stiffer pieces off here and snip that off. No big deal. Alright. So there we go. We are looking good. So now, the last and final step we really need to do is tie in our soft tackle feather. So let's see if we can find a small one here. I'm about all out of small ones, huh? What we got hiding out over here? I think I'll go with you. You look good. Come here. There we go. Nah, that's too big. Way too big. Alright, we'll use you. Alright, now you can tie this in two ways. Some guys will strip all the bottom fluff off. Alright, and they'll tie it in this way. But when I do that, I have a tendency to break the stem in half and then it's useless. So what I do is I'll pinch a little bit at the top and I'll stroke those barbules downward. And it will look just like this. Alright, and we're going to tie it in by that. Those fibers going backward. There's a pinch loop there. We got it in. Secure it in. I'm going to come under. Oh, look at that. It's spinning on me. That's not good, huh? So there we go. That is tied in. And we're going to get what's hanging off here. I'm going to snip that. Push that thread away and snip. Alright. Then what we're going to do is we're going to take 2 or 3 turns of the soft tackle. Make sure you're coming underneath. All the fibers are coming with it. Nothing's getting trapped. And I'm pulling everything in one direction. Alright? One direction. So everything's folded backward. And it's going to flow over the top of that CDC and it's going to breathe and look awesome. So there's 2. Alright? I think 2's enough. If you want to use 3, use 3. Just make sure you do not crowd the eye of your hook. That would be very bad. Let me see here. Should we do 3? Let's see here. Yeah, we'll do one more. So we'll do 3. You look at it and you eyeball it and you see what's going to work for you, alright? We're going to do 3 there. And we're going to bring this around, secure it in, take 2 over the top. 1, 2. I'm going to pull everything back. Sweep across the eye of that hook. And there we go. And I'm going to come in, I'm going to snip off my feather as close as I can. Like that. Alright. Then take a few more wraps, make a nice head, and all we're going to need to do is whip finish. Alright. Oh, that's looking good. And then get your whip finishing tool. 5 turns. Snug that up. Get a good look at it. It's looking pretty good. Move around those fibers from the soft tackle. Some will get trapped underneath, so just pick them up. And there we go. That is looking outstanding. There we go. Now I'm going to use a drop of head cement. Now be careful with the head cement, because you don't want to get head cement on your CDC. And I use Fly Tight by Fly Right. There's no fumes, nothing like that. And we're just going to put a little tiny dab on there. That's it. A little dab. There we go. Alright. Come in with our scissors and snip. And there is the mesh caddis. Right there. Look at that. So you got the rubber, you get everything moving. It's just a mess. There's so many moving parts of this. Everything undulates and moves. And this will fool many, many, many trout. And bluegills love it too. Alright, so there you go. The mesh caddis.